I wanted to talk about spirituality, specifically during a digital age. So I am 37. I was born in 1987, and I am at the interesting cross section a lot of millennials are, where I grew up where computers could fill whole rooms, and the internet wasn't even really accessible to regular people, and phones would still be dialed on rotary, to being in a place where now we fit like supercomputers in our pockets. Um, it's not news to anyone. But the one of the interesting things I do like think about a lot and wrestle with is the meaning of spirituality and technology, especially like over a historical context. But with the advancement of technology, the advancement of communication technology, cell phones, social media, quote unquote communication. It's really marketing now, but um, what that means, what that looks like on a very like simple level, it's like, oh, churches have live streams and spiritual mentors can talk over, FaceTime or whatever. But on a more micro level, to me, what it can mean um, is how does it affect your soul, right? How does it affect my soul on a more selfish lens, not negative selfish lens, but like, what is this technology doing to us? What does this technology mean? Um, the good and the bad, the mix of it all. Um, this video is funny because I don't have an answer. I don't think anyone really does. I think there's people far more educated and experienced than me who are. Um, what I see specifically is the emotional and effect on it. Specifically talking about young people and working with young people in the spiritual aspect. I've seen um, kind of pretty largely negative effect. I don't want this to be another like old Simpsons grandpa screaming at the sky video about how technology is bad, but I do think it's worth thinking about wrestling. I'll give a little anecdote. So I worked at a church that was very heavy on the social media, and this was like pre-Facebook monetization. So we leaned pretty like middle-aged to older church. So they were all on Facebook. It was at the point now where good old Zuck had released Facebook from the Ivy League schools to young people to, our moms and dads. And with that came a flood of like toxic political discourse, misinformation, um, and cooking videos. Um, so I felt this kind of prescient like pressure to always post, 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 post. And I'm kind of inherently a pretty personal person, pretty private. Some of my best memories are like being a kid and looking back technology, playing like I remember specifically we had a New Year's party at one of our family members. My mom was always good about like I could chill. Like she'd leave me in my room at parties, to my door when people were whatever. But I it was New Year, so I just got Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. And I was blowing through that game. And I remember beating it on New Year's and even having like it being a really fond memory. I'm having fond memories playing with pixels and digital things, but the story, everything was really over my head, but it was just a pretty special experience. Um, Many years later, I'm watching social media and how it becomes almost gamified, right? I can remember I would activate my Facebook at a younger age, just around the time of my birthday, because I wanted the dopamine hits of hopefully dozens, if not more, of birthday posts from people that I never interacted with and could care less about. But for some reason, on my birthday, I wanted to feel loved, and all the little 20-second, 5-second messages that people would post made me feel significant in that moment, and quickly the high of it wore off. And that just kind of poured over into my working church life, where it was either messages or videos or inspirational things like this I would post, but they would be viewed in my heart as failures or successes based upon the engagement and the interaction. Now, the problem with that is number one, that's stupid. Your value is infinite. It's not dependent upon social media posts. But more importantly, I was viewing it in a very childish lens, like as if I put it out there and there weren't all these mechanisms behind the scenes of Facebook, paywalling and guarding things to control your outreach. Not to say I would go viral or anything like that, but again, it's not a pure lens of interaction nor while you're doing it, and it created a lot of anxiety in me. It created a tremendous amount of anxiety, and to the point that I was posting and I was really stressed out about it. How to post this, how to post that, life updates, meals, random messages, interactions. I had to let people know I was alive and I was doing such great stuff until I didn't want to anymore. And this is like embarrassing, but deleting my Facebook was one of the most freeing things I ever did because I gained a decent amount of following just through church connections and working with people. So you just meet a lot of people. Hey, your Facebook could do this. And I found myself almost trapped in a way that when I was just completely burnt out on church work, burnt out on the social media aspect specifically, deleting my Facebook was one of the most like free things, which is sad, right? Because it's supposed to be at least we think a good thing. But for me, it became like a Sisyphean boulder that I was pushing up the hill and letting back down, and whatever dopamine hit I'd get, it wasn't enough. I think that what we're seeing with the digital age we're living in is a clashing of that with our soul, whether it's what we're looking to satisfy, whether what we achieve, whether the access to some things that might not be the best for our souls. I don't need to go into that. It's a whole nother video. But an access to like dehumanizing media, whether it's violence, all kinds of pornography. Pornography is not just sexual, it could be violent. That dehumanize and kind of chip away at the soul, but in the same way that people stop on the LIE, not to be safe around a car crash, but to stop and stare at it. Social media became that wheel like that, and I think that the humanizing effect can really weigh down our soul. So there is certainly a lot more positives to social medias, to the internet, to technology advancements. Again, the access to information is profound, but there's also an access to profound amount of disinformation. And at what point is there so much disinformation that you might as well have no access to the information because it's like, you know, if I put one beautiful, precious gem in a pile of 8 billion rocks, what are the chances of you actually finding that when they all look the same or appear the same? So I don't know. I guess kind of guard yourself, guard your soul, be aware of it. It's something I'm working through. This video went very long. That's all I have. Our souls in a digital age. Bye.